Hello and welcome back to BISON Talks IMPACT, coming to you via the Total Nonstop Impact Network on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes and wherever you listen to your favourite shows. I'm your host Bison, and today I'm here at the fantastic Park Plaza Hotel in Westminster, and I have the pleasure to welcome the leader of Violent by Design, and of course the one and only world-class maniac, Mr. Eric Young.
How are you, man? Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Good to see you in person.
Exactly, yeah. Last time I think he was on the Zoom, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, everything was on the Zoom.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice to actually be able to sort of kind of meet people
It is.
and have a real good conversation.
Preferable.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. I think it's also easier because you can sort of kind of gauge.
Of course, yeah.
Gauge people's feelings on their questions sometimes as well. Now it's great to see you here in the UK, Eric. I mean, how are you finding the British hospitality?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I've loved it here. I've always loved coming here. I was saying to these guys, I think there'd be a point where I would live here, you know, if the opportunity ever arose. So that could be something in the future, but doing shows here and being here as a professional wrestler is special because, one, you guys don't get it all the time. You don't get, North American talent over here all the time. It's been 2 years, basically, since anyone from the active roster has been over here, the Impact roster. So coming here, it's been unreal, man. It's the passion and the want and the craving for live pro wrestling is alive and well here, and I've been drinking it in.
I don't blame you. I really don't. I think a lot of the fan base here in the UK are absolutely loving the fact that we've now got live shows again.
Yep.
I think they can't wait to see Impact potentially come back to the UK as well. The buzz is just all over the place at the moment, so it is fantastic that you've made the trip over to see us over here. Obviously, I mean, like I was saying, the fan base in the UK is big. I mean, it used to be bigger, but I mean, obviously, with the fact that we don't necessarily have a TV deal over at the moment, it's sort of kind of holding that back a little bit. And we're hoping that, at some point in the future, that TV deal will come back. However, we are still lucky to have the Impact Plus app, of course, and we've also got the YouTube Insiders, which is available to us here in the UK. What are your thoughts on all the sort of kind of outlets that are available now in the UK and of course all around the world for us to see Impact?
For me, it's amazing on two fronts. The one part is for the fans, it's accessible because of technology. When I was a diehard wrestling fan, like me and two of my buddies, I was telling this story earlier, we had to save up money for a year to buy a satellite that cost $1,000. Now they'll give them away. Yeah. They'll come to your house and install it if you sign up for 2 years. We had to pay $1,000 for the satellite. We saved up our money for almost a calendar year to get it, went 3 ways on it and bought it so we could watch Raw and SmackDown and Nitro. But you were a prisoner of when they aired. You had to be home. There was no way to record it. I mean, you could record it on VHS, I guess. But the fact that technology makes it more accessible, and the counter of that is for wrestling companies. It's another way to make profit, and make money, and get your product out into people's hands easier and at a more affordable price. The goal for Impact for sure is to be back on TV here. That's what we all want. That's what management wants, and I think we're working towards that. There's been rumblings of doing a tour, maybe on an untelevised one, but coming over for a tour. So that's the hope, and I'll be the first person to put my hand up and volunteer to come back because I love working here. I always have, and I think I always will.
Yeah, I think, like you say, the UK fans are so appreciative when you guys come over because we don't get you all the time.
That's right. It's special, right?
Yeah.
And it should feel that way. And I think wrestling companies would be smarter to limit when they go to New York or when they go to Dallas. Like Dallas just had 700,000 matches. Yeah. There should be no more wrestling in Dallas for at least 2 months. None. Because if you live there, to me, like, I love wrestling. But I can only take so much of any one thing. So it's always special when we come over here. And I mean, the people that perform, like, you can feel it. Like, it feels special to them and special to the fans, and that in turn feels special to us.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's fantastic. Now, can you give us an insight? I mean, we're going to go back to little Eric, when Eric first started. An insight on how you decided to become a wrestler. And who was your first trainers and where did that sort of go? Because I know a little story where you started training. You were to become a trainer quite early on in your career. Yeah. So how did you get started?
So I mean, I watched it most of my life. I definitely was a bigger fan of it when I was very young. Then I kind of fell out of it. Probably in between 10 and 10 and 14, kind of stopped watching it. I mean, I would watch it if it was on, but I didn't watch it religiously. I didn't really know what was going on. Where I grew up, still to this day, cable television doesn't exist. So I had a satellite, or an antenna in our yard. We had 7 or 8 channels. We'd get WDL, I can still remember it, WDLV out of Detroit, channel 38, and it would have superstars would come on, like this clip show would show you what happened or whatever, on Saturdays at like 2:30 a.m.
Cool.
So I'm very similar to English people. I have to stay up really late and consume it all, and I would. I mean, I would stay up, and my mom would let me in. Then I'd sleep in a little bit on Sunday. Then sometimes on Sunday mornings we would get Smoky Mountain and a couple other regional ones out of this channel in Detroit. Really weird channel. It had like hunting shows, religious shows, and pro wrestling. So it's a very weird demographic there.
Yeah, that is all. That is a bit strange.
But that was my only access to that, or renting VHS tapes. So Coliseum Home Video was a huge source of me being able to consume wrestling. And then in high school, started doing very early on in high school, started doing backyard wrestling with my friends, and we built this ring out of this little trampoline, and we had ropes and everything.
That's so funny. Because that's what I did with my friends.
I mean, a lot of guys, that's how it starts, right? Yeah. At all different levels, and we, held like a little show in front of like 10 people, and the minute, like, it's for lack of a better word, the minute I was able to like plan something and manipulate those 10 people to react the way I wanted, is a drug.
Yes.
And it put it right directly into my veins every chance I get, and that's, you chase it forever, and I'm still chasing it because there's nothing like it. It can't be duplicated. And at that point, I was in high school, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I know that I was poor at school. I hated being told what to do, and I loved wrestling. I also played rugby in high school, and my coach in high school was pushing me to. He said, I think if you're really trained and you practice, you can get a scholarship and go to University of Hamilton, maybe play professionally overseas. And I love rugby, and I think it'll always be a what if in my mind. But I didn't love anything like I loved wrestling. It took like 2 things that I loved. 2 of my huge passions at that point was, sport and being physical and using my body to do things that an average person can't do. And the other one was acting. I did community theater, and I did improv Olympics, and drama was every year was my best grade in school. That's what I got the highest marks in every year because I was good at it. And then pro wrestling was the mold of those 2 things together. That's it's the easiest way to break it down is it's live acting, but also sport at the same time. It's both things. And I just fell in love with wrestling. I couldn't.
Now, over the years, you've been involved in so many angles with TNA, WWE, and of course Impact, from comedy to the world-class Maniac, and of course leader of factions like VBD. I'd love to know which style you enjoy working the most.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is I like it all. I was in this, very interesting position in my career of having this unique opportunity where I've been allowed to kind of do everything, and I've succeeded at everything. I think it's like, off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody who's had more different characters, more different gimmicks, more different storylines, where I've literally seen the card from every angle. I've been the opening match, I've been the main event, I've held tag team titles with 6 or 7 different people. I've wrestled women before wrestling women was a cool thing. It was definitely not a cool thing then. I wasn't even allowed to touch them when that was happening. So that was a very interesting time, and I wouldn't change any of it. It's all of it is allowed me to gain experience, and I think having that experience gives me a one of one kind of view of wrestling, where I've experienced these things that somebody that does something really well but only does one thing can't experience those other things because they don't do those things. Okay. And I've done it all, and I don't think I'm the best at any one thing, but I think I'm very good at all of it, and I've proven that over time, and it's allowed me to have all these different experiences, and the coolest thing for me is in real life and life in general, I'm experiential. Like I had a buddy of mine hit me with a van when I was a kid because I wanted to know what it was like to get hit by a car. I'm a very curious person, naturally curious. That happened for real. I'm a very naturally curious person, and I want to experience good, bad, and different in everything. And wrestling has allowed me to do that. In the wrestling world, I've experienced so much, and I wouldn't change it for anything.
No, I appreciate that, and I think one of the quotes that you yourself have said, that if you, in any wrestling promotion in the world, if you can't find something for Aaron Young to do,
that's it.
Then you're doing something wrong.
You failed.
Yeah, you're
I said not those exact words, but those words to Vince when I had a meeting with him, and then I got fired. So, but yeah,
I wonder why.
Yeah.
But there you go. Now we are now well and truly on the road to Rebellion. VBD are obviously the current World Tag Team Champs, which is absolutely awesome. I think it's the second time now, right?
Yep.
It's the second time World Tag Team Champs, which is pretty amazing. Obviously, the Good Brothers are clearly wanting those titles back. But the tag division is really hotting up in Impact at the moment. Now, you know, if there was anyone you wanted to face, who do you think that would be at Rebellion and why?
I mean, Motor City Machine Guns are, got to be near the top of that list. Guys that I've wrestled before, singles, I'm sure, I couldn't tell you to place it, but I'm sure I've wrestled them as a team before. Guys that I've known for years, Chris and I want to call him Patrick because that's his real name, but Alex Shelley.
Yes.
And so, guys that, I wrestled Saban in, I think, his third match ever, and Shelley in his 6th or 7th match ever. So I've known those guys for a long time, and they, reinvented tag team wrestling. Especially in North America. They've held world titles all over, in promotions in Japan and in Mexico, and we're obviously a huge part of TNA's success when, we went to Spike TV and we're doing crazy numbers and pay-per-view numbers and stuff, and they're awesome. Just two complete pros. The Honor No More guys, there's all kinds of combinations there that you can think of. Willie and Rich, we've crossed paths with them, where they're two pros and guys that are super interesting and really fun to work with. It's a long list. It's cool that the tag team kind of division is really rounding into form right now. Really starting, like you said, to heat up, and being at the forefront of that is a cool opportunity for us, and something that we don't take lightly.
Good. No, I'd like to hear that. I mean, for me personally, I really like the team of I forgot what they're called now. It's the Tavern and Bennett combination from Ring of Honor. I mean, they were amazing team. And I'd love to see them take on
the Kingdom. I think is what they call themselves at one point.
The Kingdom.
I don't know if they're calling them that anymore.
MGK. That's right. OGK, there you go. So Gary knows, he knows it all.
He knows everything, that's why he's here.
That's why he's here, exactly. But yeah, no, I'd love to see those guys against you guys. And do you know what, thinking about the sort of kind of like the combination, I know obviously it was you and Big Joe that won the titles, but I mean, I think the combination of possibly yourself and Dina would be pretty amazing against those guys.
It's something. It's another layer to the story, and it's a cool thing with VBD is they're allowing us to do, whatever you want to call it, Freebird rules or New Day rules. We're calling them VBD rules,
exactly.
Because we're the first team to kind of do that there. And I did it a little bit in the band with Scott and Kevin and me. So where most of the time I was in the match, but it would alternate in between one of them and the other one on the floor. So it's such a cool story element, and it's also it's hard to surprise wrestling fans now because they're so intelligent, and they're they know more about what's going on than I do. I often don't know until I get there, and they all know. They know everything before we even get there. And having that story element until we walk out and two guys stay in the ring and one guy drops to the floor, you don't really know. And it's a cool storytelling element too, as heels, using that as to our advantage is how you prepare. You can't prepare, you can't train, you can't think of certain things that you're going to do because you don't know who it's going to be, what combination. So that's something that I think that we will definitely try to apply in the story going into Rebellion, the pay-per-view coming up, an 8-man gauntlet. There's tons of ways to tell stories and layer it up and make it emotional and make it physical and do all the things that World Pro Wrestling allows you to do. It's a really cool opportunity.
Oh, without doubt. I think all the fans out there are certainly looking forward to finding out where all these sort of kind of matches come and where it's going to go, who you're going to end up facing. I think ultimately there are some fantastic matchups there. I mean, we could have 6, 7, 8 different great matches to come over the next sort of 6 months or so. Now, moving away a little bit from wrestling. Now, I know that you love fishing. You're a massive hockey fan, as we all know, with the Maple Leafs. But you're also, as we're in the UK, you're also a soccer or football fan, I should say. You're also a football fan. And, as I was coming on the train today, I passed the Olympic Stadium, and, I saw the hammers down, and you're a West Ham fan.
Yeah.
So how did that all come about?
Yeah, so I've been, as you say, football, soccer to me, but I'll try to say football while I'm here because I know that's what it's called. I've been a football fan forever. I played all through grade school, played all through high school, tried out for the team when I was in the 9th grade for goalkeeper. Yeah. The goalkeeper had graduated, the one that was there before, so it was kind of an open competition. And that was cool for me at 9th grade. It's cool to meet people and become part of something and, have your group of people, and made the team and was the starting goalkeeper for the entire season, and played 2 years of kind of like travel indoor soccer. It's pretty popular in Canada after that. So yeah, it's been a huge part of my life. I'm a person that loves sport. Like I love hockey, I love football, I love American football and English football, both. But I always want to have some skin in the game. So I don't really know what drew me to West Ham initially, but I kind of loosely followed them. And then probably 8 or 10 years ago, I was on tour here and became good friends with a buddy of mine here, James Ford, and still buddies with him. James, if you're watching this, hello. And him and a bunch of his buddies and his brother were all West Ham fans. And that's what solidified it for me. I was like, okay, and we went to some games, and I saw them beat Aston Villa in Bolton Stadium before it closed, and they moved into the new place. But yeah, that's definitely my team here. I love the colors of the original Sanity colors were maroon and blue because of the West Ham connection. And there's a group in Nashville called the Nashville Hammers, and they wake up at the crack of dawn and start slamming beers at this bar that opens only for them. And I've gone over there, rode my bike, or drove over and partaken. And a guy brings a bubble machine, and they're singing the songs. And diehard West Ham fans. There's only, sometimes there's 20 of them, sometimes there's 4 or 5 of them. It just depends how early it is. But yeah, Saturday mornings can be. It was the first time I went, it blew my mind.
So you love singing "We Are Forever Blowing Bubbles" then?
Forever blowing bubbles. That's what I was going to have on my gravestone, probably.
That's fantastic. Now, I do want to bring up the fact that you're currently in the middle of a UK tour, because I think if I don't bring it up, I think Gary's going to kill me. Mm-hmm. So you're currently in the middle of a UK tour, and Ireland as well. What promotions and where can the UK fans come out and see you?
Yeah, I'm here for I think over 30 days in total. Gary Ward, my good friend, who helped me organize it and put it up. He runs and owns Wrestling Carnival, Wrestle Carnival.
However you want to
say it, right, Gary?
Get it right.
I'm doing it wrong on purpose at this point. And but yeah, he runs that, and he didn't have a show while I was here, so it just worked out a certain way. I did Iron Girders in Scotland for Wolfgang, a show there, really good show there. Did Discovery Wrestling in Edinburgh. We done OTT. We did WAW, wrestled Zach Zodiac for WAW. We had a real good match.
Great.
We had a real good match. Sold out, completely full. Their performance center, or whatever you want to call it there, they've got a really cool facility.
And if anyone doesn't know, Zach is Paige's brother.
His brother, her brother. And I've known him. He came around when he was like 18 or 19. He'd come around and do some of the tours and help out. And did a couple dark matches, I think, for us, and then moved himself to the States. And I got real close there. I don't know whatever happened, but yeah, real good guy, talented guy, big, good shape. Yeah, really good show. We've got Clyde Valley, which is in Glasgow. They're doing a seminar and a show there. We got Exposure Wrestling. We got Shropshire Wrestling, which is in Swansea.
No,
yeah.
Shropshire.
Exposure Swansea. This is an inside joke. I couldn't remember what it was. He kept having to tell me, "You're in Swansea, man. You're in Swansea." So that's why Gary's helping me, because I don't know where I'm coming or going most of the time. But yeah, it's been amazing, man. Like people, I think 2 years of being kind of locked up in your house, getting out and being able to do live music and live wrestling again is a big deal, and you can feel the passion and the energy in it. I mean, it's a drug that can't be replaced.
Okay, and I've got one last question.
Yep.
So we are now only, like I say, a couple of weeks away from Rebellion, which is available on pay-per-view via Fight TV on Saturday, 23rd of April, featuring an incredible main event, which will be Moose versus Josh Alexander, a fantastic Canadian wrestler, if you don't know. Plus, of course, BVD will be defending their tag titles as well. If I was a casual fan here in the UK, watching this interview and thinking, you know what, I might give Impact another go, could you give me a reason to tune into Impact Wrestling, of course, by the Rebellion pay-per-view?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this will sound biased because that's where I work, but look, I was a wrestling fan at one point. That's why I got into wrestling. And Impact Wrestling is, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people's opinion, that watch all and consume all wrestling. Like Impact is not the only wrestling you watch other stuff as well. But I would say, minute for minute, it's the best professional wrestling show on TV. It's written for professional wrestling fans by people who were professional wrestling fans, or wrestled at one point. You know, there's Robert and there's Jimmy Jacobs. These guys were pros. I mean, these guys were working all over the place. Scott D'Amore was a very high level wrestler. Was under contract in WCW, wrestled all over the world. These are guys that have done it and understand it, and also are fans. It's what attracted them to wrestling. That's what attracted me to wrestling. I didn't know anything about it or what was going to happen, but I knew I wanted to do it, and now I'm doing it. So I would say, you know, minute to minute, it's the best show on TV. It's the best professional wrestling. There's other shows that are better at. They have more money for production. They can bring in celebrities. They can do this and that. This show, Impact, is written for professional wrestling fans by professional wrestling fans, and I promise you, if you watch it, you will enjoy it. There's something for everybody, and we care. You know, we want you to watch. You know, it's everybody on the roster is pouring everything they have into every single thing that they're given because they're hungry. You know, I mean, I've been doing this a long time. I'm still hungry. I still feel like I have something to prove, and I don't think that'll ever go away from me. So it's the best. And if it's not for you, then maybe professional wrestling is not for you. You want something else.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I do often think to myself, you know, if you like professional wrestling, I don't get it if you don't watch the show.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, unfortunately, I think that's about all we've got time for today. But thank you so much for joining me today on this edition of BISON Talks Impact. Please make sure that you hit the thumbs up. And if this is the very first time that you've joined us, and of course you're seeing the legend that is Eric Young, then please consider hitting that subscribe button. We bring out stuff on the TNI network pretty much every single week related to Impact Wrestling, and of course a few other bits and bobs as well. So please hit that subscribe button. That would be absolutely awesome. All that said, I've been Bison. I was joined today by the leader of Violent by Design, the legend himself, Mr. Eric Young.